May I have a roll call, please?
Bob Wilbar.
John Hutzko.
Steve Caswell.
Michael O'Brien.
John Cutler.
Teresa Golden.
By the way, before we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, Bob is an alternate. He has been seated because Lori is absent. So if you would please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have two upcoming meetings, December 15th, which we're going to come back to at the end of this meeting and make sure there's no need to continue, and then January 5th, 2015. Approval of the minutes, October 16th. You know what? I'm going to delay that. I'm sorry, October 6th. We're going to delay that for another time. With that, though, I would like, we have 12 dates set for 2016 for meetings. Do I need to read these, or can we just, could I have a motion to approve the days?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Okay, the first item on our agenda tonight is a public hearing for Alpine Industries. Mike, you ready to go? Or?
Ken, do we have everything we need?
Yep.
Yeah, we're all upset. We're all beautiful.
We do.
Wow. So we have to open this public hearing.
We do. Could I have, thank you, sir. Could I have a motion to open the public
You
hearing?
got it. So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The hearing is now open.
Now we're.
You ready to go, guy?
Politically correct.
I was going to wait. I wanted to wait. But that's fine. You know.
It's going to fall over anyway.
Okay. Starring in the role of Ed McMahon tonight is John Cutler. Okay. Welcome.
Proximity of this to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. If you could just walk us through this and, again, speak in the microphone for those playing along at home.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
The project tonight before us is Alpine Industries. This is an amended site plan that was formerly known as the Riggio's site, for those that may have some familiarity with it. It's located on the north side of town, on the east side of Route 82, effectively across from Francis Drive. Okay. The applicant, who was with us tonight, Tom DeMasi and his son, have recently purchased the property, and what they're looking to do is to basically bring it back to a state of operation that once was before, okay? For years, it was actually being rented by the previous owner to John Deere Landscapes. A lot of irrigation equipment and some light, contractor supplies and so forth. They've since vacated the space. They're not there right now, and Tom plans on bringing this back to effectively a nursery. Okay, we worked with the board the last few months relative to the placement of areas of material components relative to stone and topsoil, and we actually, probably the biggest difference here, and biggest component of this is actually there's construction of another building, just over 1,000 square feet, which is going to be located in the south west corner, effectively, of the site, off the front yard setback of 100 feet. So effectively, that's kind of the quick rundown. We have been before the ARB. We have been back in front of them over this previous month to reaffirm our approval with them. They had taken a previous look at this. The board was gracious enough the last time we were here to allow the applicant to proceed with a building permit to change the facade, the exterior of the existing building. That permit's been filed, and actually there's a pre-construction meeting scheduled for this week. So we appreciate that, and that's moving along. So.
As I recall, there's also a number of points that where you've already done improvements based on the recommendations from the board. Do you want to recap some of those, like the moving of the space behind the new building, movement of the piles, the re-landscaping?
Yeah, I think what happens is, as part of this, this is probably maybe the third or maybe the fourth time we've been in front of the board. There were certain requests relative to trying to kind of relocate certain things on the site relative to soil stockpiles and define, certain areas to make sure they're, aesthetically work, make sure that, again, the site works relative to traffic management, pedestrian movement, and so forth. And the plan that you see in front of you now incorporates that. I know the town engineer had a number of detailed-oriented things which we provided in our last submittal. So hopefully what's before you tonight reflects what you've been looking for.
So the signage will all remain the same. It's a type 2 action under seeker. There's going to be water retention on the site.
Yeah, there's actually, because being the existing site, there was an existing dry well that sits in the front, which takes drainage off the entrance, and then there's actually for lack of another term, a holding pond on the back side. One of the changes between the last time we were before the board and now was in the front, as you drive into the site, on the right and left-hand side, as part of the previous John Deere landscape plan, they had display areas for basically concrete block and pavers and things such as that. It's not the intent of the current applicant to have that, so we're actually removing those areas, and I think that's important because we're removing some of those impervious areas and reducing the impervious. Again, while we're still adding the building on the right-hand side and some other paving, we're not planning on really changing effectively, substantially the drainage, grading, and of the site and so forth. So.
Okay, we'll come to the lighting in a second, but there were also the woods, for if the neighbors are watching at home, the woods in the back are going to remain the same, and the buffer, there's,
As part of the previous Reggio site plan, there was a requirement, presumptively, that the entire perimeter of the site be located, be peppered with evergreen trees. So the plan that you see in front of you indicates those trees around the entire perimeter of the property. The property to the rear is industrial, and to the right, it's an office building, but it's actually still industrial zone. So the only residential property looking at the site with your back to 82 is on the left-hand side. And in fact, we did take a look at that to make sure, we kind of wanted to see where that actual residential home existed in proximity to where the proposed action was. And it's about 125 feet, and it's heavily wooded.
Right.
So we have, not in addition to the pine trees that are there now, there's a pretty substantial buffer on that side. So.
Operational hours are not going to be changed. There's still 7 days a week from 7:30 to 5.
That was the plan.
Lighting, Michelle, did you want to make any comments about the lighting?
Just that I spoke with the applicant, and they don't really intend to add any additional lighting to the site. They're going to change, they have the new buildings, so they're going to have some wall packs, but there's not going to be any parking lot lighting, that is my understanding, new parking lot lighting, and that there's just going to have some lighting on the new building, and the rest of the lighting will remain the same.
Yeah, the lighting scheme for the project remains unchanged. And I'll say with the exception that we are changing the fixtures on the existing building as part of the ARB approval, of which I have, I'll hand those out tonight.
Right, but it's not going to be any, we don't have spillage issues or any of that stuff?
It's just really accent lighting.
Okay. No fuels, no
Not stored.
open salt, all of that stuff?
Bag salt, but
Bags of salt,
not
but
open salt. Right.
Okay. Board members, after that exhaustive review, any board members, any comments?
No question.
You feel exhausted?
We've all got the same minutes.
The only question was the backup beep, beep, beep. You're not going to do that. You're going to have an alternate, correct?
Yeah, we'll get an alternate for
Right.
it.
Yeah. That way the neighbors don't get woken up at 7:30 if they want to sleep.
I'm sorry, that's a good point, Bob, that was from previous meetings. Okay, our professionals, Brendan, any further comments?
I think from a traffic perspective, the intensity of the use is, similar to what's there, so there really is no increased impact to traffic. I think initially we commented that there might be a requirement for a highway work permit and/or use and occupancy permit, but they've modified the plan to eliminate the need for that, so there's no need to get any permits from the DOT. Am I correct in that, Mike?
Right.
And then, the access and the circulation pretty much remain unchanged. They did clarify the use of the new building and how that's going to be accessed, so that's all appropriate.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, Michelle.
Just that the land use is very similar and compatible to what was there previously, and new building is less than 4,000 square feet, which is one of the new criteria for considering it as a type 2 action, which is one of the reasons why we're considering it a type 2 action, that and the fact that there's no additional new impervious surface on the site, as Mike already talked about. And so the drainage and the stormwater is remaining largely the same, and the use is remaining the same, and there's no other permits needed from any other agencies other than the lead agency, which is the town,
Okay,
theoretically.
beautiful, thank you. Joe?
My letter talks about several of the items that they did take care of in this latest submittal, and most of the rest of it was, and Mike was able to arrange a meeting for myself with the owner out there to kind of look at the existing soil conditions and the cover conditions and try to picture from looking at the plan how much it was going to change. And there is some give and take with impervious cover. There may be a small increase, but based on the soil conditions and what I saw of the kind of drainage systems they already have, it seems like it'll be easily able to accommodate any small amount of increase of runoff. So, and Mike did define that in his response letter, so I think we'll just go under that premise that it's not really going to cause any problems with drainage.
Okay.
Some of the other things we've already discussed, the kind of things they're going to be selling, no fuel storage, no bulk salt materials. The operational hours, I did talk a little bit with the owner today. It sounded like, at least in the summer, he may want to extend to maybe 7 p.m., but maybe we should let him clarify or just have him put that on the plan when he does finer details of his operation.
Okay. Good point. I mean, I don't think 7 p.m. is going to create issues with the neighbors, and particularly in the summer months. Anything else?
It's discussed in the letter to have the sonar type backup alarms that are quieter during normal operation, and they only activate when there is an obstacle in their path, so it avoids the constant noise. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Scott?
Nope, nothing else, David.
Tom? Okay, Mike, do you want to say anything before we? Okay.
Public comment?
Oh, well, yes, we're gonna go to public comment in just a second. For those who can't see, there is no one here from the public. But let me just ask anyway, is there anyone hiding back there who wishes to comment? No? Okay. I can't see that whole section of the room because, okay.
You're good over here.
They're okay.
Is there any reason why we can't put this on for a decision? Close the public hearing and put this,
Motion to close the public hearing? Second. So moved.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is closed. Mike, we were thinking about, actually, would January 5th for a decision be okay with you, or?
That works, yeah, I mean.
Okay. Okay,
Good?
we thank you very much. That was wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good luck. And yeah, I think you've done a nice job with the site. Thank you. We like it. We like when businesses move in or expand. The only other item on the agenda tonight was the letter that we have for feedback to the town board on JFE Associates. Let me just paraphrase the letter that Michelle did a great job. She captured all the comments from the last meeting, and basically saying that we believe that baseball is consistent with outdoor recreation, and that we support this effort. Michelle made a number of points. The first one is that potentially the applicant should be asked to supply a list of the other properties in the B1 district that might be affected by any zoning change. Two, that because of the change in use, there might be changes in the traffic patterns, and that should be evaluated potentially by the planning board. Thirdly, that as part of the public assembly process, the town might want to consider giving the planning board discretion to kind of set limits on the number of people coming and/or affect a traffic management plan that would handle whatever is the estimated number of people. Fourthly, the town should specify coming up with a parking requirement. Mike, did you have any feedback on the parking algorithm, or?
I had a couple of back and forth.
Yeah. For the people playing along at home. Yeah.
Me and Michelle had a couple back and forth relative to the project, asking some of those questions, which we can certainly provide to the town board as well when we get to that point. In terms of the parking, I think you were calling for one per...
The only parking requirement that I was able to find in the literature for fields was one, for every backstop, 30 spaces, and then, but I did also see slightly lower parking requirements, like 15 to 20 for multi-sports fields, but the one backstop for every 30 spaces seemed to be more appropriate, since we know it's definitely going to be softball fields. I don't know why that would generate more parking than most multi-sports, maybe because there's more
30,
spectators.
there's
I don't know.
only
But
18 people.
it seemed like the number of spaces that you were
Yeah.
that you presented in the last meeting would more than cover that.
Yeah, we showed 450 parking spots on our conceptual plan. Okay?
Right.
And we actually provide for more, but based upon, and that was really more along the lines of 20 to 22, so along those lines per, but if you break it into a per dugout based upon the amount of fields that we have. So, listen, at the end of the day, we certainly have to go with what industry standard provides, and also I will tell you that, I've been to these facilities, softball facilities, for the last 3 or 4 years, and you don't want to have a parking issue. They seem to all have parking issues.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to deal with it.
And that whole area in front theoretically could be buffer parking, right?
Right. We do provide parking in the front, but...
But there's those fields between 52 and the current parking, that's not going to be affected by this, correct?
I'm not sure. I have the sketch. Do you want to take a look at it quick or no?
Fields up front, too.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah, they're right, they're fields, I'm sorry, yes. But I mean, that's not going to be expanded into parking.
We have on our conceptual, we have a 25-foot landscape buffer, and we have a double row of parking, and then we have the fields. The fields and the dugouts have to be 100 feet off because of the setback based upon the structures.
Right.
Have to be 100 feet off the front. So that's that kind of way that all lines up in the front there.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you. The other points were the bus parking needs to be, sports lighting should be considered. Again, these are all points to be considered, or that the planning board might consider when adjudicating a proposal of this nature. The maximum number of sports fields should be a factor. The limits, the site's hours of operations, the shielding of the lighting, and then basically the community benefit in the overall proposal. So with that said, are there any planning board members who wish to add any other comments to this? I think Michelle did a great job, but anything else? Okay, then.
I just want to say one thing, is just remember that we're recommending back to the town board, so we're not actually looking at this particular application right now. We're saying, like, if we're allowing this throughout the town, these are the things that we want. That's why I don't know if there's going to be sports lighting with his proposal,
Right.
but we may want to, typically that happens with sports fields, so you might want to consider that and consider the conditions upon which you would want that there or not want that there. So those are the types of things you just need to think about.
Thank you, that's a good point. Again, these are just points to be considered, and so, okay. That said, we don't vote to adopt this, do we? We finalize it?
Just endorse this as your comments back to the town.
Okay, and we don't vote on that?
Well, you can.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept this as?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, that brings us to the last item of business, and that is what to do with the December 15th meeting. Do I have a motion to cancel the meeting?
You have nothing on the agenda.
There's nothing on the agenda.
Well, let's cancel.
No, John, you need
So
the money.
moved.
Do I have a second?
John needs the money.
He needs the money. Okay, everybody cough up $7 for John.
John? I second. Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
So
One
cancel.
last one. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.